Higgo, thinking with Higgo, thinking about stuff. G'day, welcome once again to Just Thinkin'. Yep, that's officially what I've called it now because, I don't know, it's what I do when I go out walking. And I hope you like the intro. It's just really top-notch. Cost a lot of money to do that one. So anyway, let's get into it. The reason I did this is because yesterday some people enjoyed the first video and said that if you could do another one, that'd be great. So, and with that in mind, and because I do this when I'm walking, the thinking part, let's go to Higgo now, who's on his walk. You there, mate?
G'day, mate. How's it going?
I'm well. Yourself?
Yeah, good. Sensational day. Have a look. Beautiful.
What are you listening to?
Started with Super Jesus today, Sumo.
Very nice. What song?
Up to Dead Ended.
Tune.
Yeah, tune. Good stuff.
Gonna sing a bit for us?
No, I'm not going to sing a bit because I don't really remember the words. It's a long time ago.
All right, spoil sport. So you reckon you could hold that camera a little bit steadier?
Yeah, well, if I had the money, I'd buy one of those gimbals and it wouldn't shake around as much. And look, now the headphone cord's going into the shot. Let's move that out of the way.
So you're on your walk. What are you thinking about at the moment?
Well, I thought I had a great chat this morning with Frank Bello from Anthrax. So I wanted to talk about interviews.
All right, the process of interviewing and interviews. Okay, great, thanks.
All right.
You know, I just absolutely love doing interviews. I think they're fantastic fun and you get to learn so much about the people that you have been listening to or watching for a long time. You get to know a little bit more about them and what makes them tick, and it adds value to what they do, in my opinion. So hopefully I can give you some advice. I don't know everything. This is, you know, don't get me wrong here, but I'm just going to try and lay down what has worked for me in the past. So the very first thing that you need to do when you're doing interview is kind of an obvious thing, and it's this. No, nice try, but just move it a little bit over. It's the next suburb over. Research. You would think that would be a fairly obvious thing to do, but some people just don't do it. Don't do enough of it, I should say. They stick with, like, I know people that have done interviews just by reading a press release, and you go, one, that's really lazy and it's not getting the full benefit out of what could be a really special chat with someone. Investigate your subject. Really look into what they've done in the past. Find out as much as you can about them, what makes them tick. And that will just naturally flow into a conversation that you have with people. This is the thing. I don't like doing interviews like question, answer, question, answer. Yes, you've got to have your questions, but you just have a conversation with them, you know, just chat. Just find out what's going on in their head. And that's the other thing. You'll get to read people pretty quickly, and whether they really want to be there and they've got a lot to say, or if they're just sort of going through the motions, in which case you're going to have to do most of the work. And that is your job. You are the interviewer. You are the one who's supposed to be doing the work. But, you know, it's a two-way street, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. If you want someone to look to get inspiration on how to be a great interviewer, Andrew Denton in Australia is by far the best interviewer I've ever watched. His show, Enough Rope, was brilliant, and he knew more about his guests than anyone I've ever known. Sure, he's probably got a whole bunch of researchers that are helping him as well, but he makes it just look easy, and he is amazing. And so he's the one you should be looking at, and he's the one I always look to for inspiration and pointers. You don't ever want to emulate someone, and I don't think that you really ever can and get away with it. Apart from when Steve Ithought tried to be Dave Letterman in the 90s, but we'll forget about that. He is someone who I always look to. So the next thing, and this is an obvious thing as well when it comes to interviews, is listen. Listen to what your guest is saying. Yes, I know I just said research. You've got a big sheet of paper, an iPad, a computer, whatever. You've got loads of questions. You've got your agenda. You want to get it all. Just listen, because that's where you're going to find the gold. You're going to find out stuff that you never thought that you would find out. And this is just interview skills 101, if you want to call it that. Ask a question, listen to the answer, ask a follow-up question. And if you have a conversation, you'll find organically that your questions will just sort of come around. And you'll have a much better interview. Like anything, rules are meant to be broken. And when it comes to people like Billy Corgan, throw your interview questions out, because he is going to chat and you are going to have a great time. He is just one of the best people to speak to. Don't actually throw your questions out because you might get stuck. But he is someone who, on every occasion I've been lucky enough to chat with him in person and on the phone, he is someone where you just say, so how's your day going? And he'll start and then you just go. You just go with him because it's going to be awesome. And I thank Billy for just being a brilliant interviewee. He's amazing to chat to. Don't be a fanboy/girl. All right, you're a professional. Do your job. I know and don't trust me on this. I still get really nervous and excited to talk to people, but you can't be that fanboy or fangirl. You can show appreciation, but you've just got to. I'm not saying like be this really cool. Hey, really dig what you did. Don't be a wanker, but just be cool about it. We should check back in with Higgo out in his walk to see if he's got any thoughts on this one, mate. You there?
Wasted all my time.
Higgo.
Wasted all my
Oh no.
time.
Hey.
What?
All right, you're still on Super Jesus. You go about your business. We'll talk to you again soon.
Oh, you prick.
Now, every interview is different. And as I mentioned before, you'll feel it out pretty quickly. The other thing that I've found is when you do all these things and you listen and you treat your guests with respect, is you build relationships. And over the years, some of the feedback that I've got from record labels and stuff has been that artists have really enjoyed the interviews that I've done. And it's amazing to get that feedback, and you don't let it get to your head, but you just think, okay, well, maybe I'm on the right track here. How can I make it better? That's how I always think with interviews. How can you make it better? Trust me, I've had my share of really shit interviews. Arctic Monkeys, Rosie and I did that, and they were monosyllabic and just the hardest interview. And then we listened back to it and we thought, were we shit? We're not prepared? Did we not do it right? And I thought we were okay, but they just obviously weren't in the mood, you know. And of course, you're going to be your own critic, and it probably wasn't as bad as what we thought it was. But at the time, it was really awkward and it felt terrible. John Mayer was another one who just didn't want to be in an interview, and you know, what can you do? You just sort of wrap it up quickly and move on with it. Switchfoot, and this is going back. I'm going back 12 years, 15 years. They're the three that have stood out. Out of the hundreds and hundreds that I've done, there's only been literally 3 bad ones where the guest doesn't really want to be there or be a part of it. So you just got to roll with that, and that's just the way it is sometimes. Let's check in with Higgo on his walk. You still with Super Jesus?
Nah. Megadeth now. Sweating bullets. Thought it was kind of apt. See you soon.
Yes, you do have a lot of work to do. Keep walking, buddy. All right, now being interviewed isn't easy either. I mean, you've got to think about it from the other point of view. It's a really awkward thing. If you've ever been interviewed, it's kind of, you know, you've got to think up shit straight away. And unless you've got your own agenda, like you're pushing a new album, you're talking about recording process, blah, 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 you know, it's hard. It can be really hard. And that's why if you keep it conversational, it's a lot easier. So for those who are in bands, actors, whatever, when you're being interviewed, can you please not give one-word answers? Can you just expand just a little bit? Because if your interviewer is worth their salt, then they can sort of listen, as I said, and draw from the answers, the next question, keep it conversational. If you're new to it, you know, just don't go, yep, new album coming, yep. Get excited about your product. Again, like I said, this is your calling card. You gotta, you know, this can make or break whether people come and see your shows or buy your merch or whatever. All right, I don't have all the answers. I really don't. Like I said, if you want real inspiration on how to be a great interviewer, check out Andrew Denton, Enough Rope. Go and watch all the stuff you can online. Check out Michael Parkinson, also someone who's developed great relationships. Eddie Trunk is also incredible. Listen to his stuff. Yes, he has the benefit of having 30 years worth of relationships with some of the world's biggest bands, but these are people that you can take direction from and get excited by and really find out what the art of interviewing is all about. So they're the people that I would look to if I were you. Anything from you, Higgo, before we go?
Yeah, I'm just in the shower. I'll be out in a minute.
Right, that's probably enough. We don't need to see any more of that. Look, I hope that you've learned a little bit. I hope that maybe this can steer you in the right direction. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments below. Subscribe. I think it's kind of here somewhere. It's a really little thing. Annotation, I think they call it. Anyway, subscribe, share it. I'd love to get your feedback. If you've got any tips on interviewing that you reckon could help me, please let me know. I always want to learn, and there might be something that I've missed that you can add to. So throw it in the comments, and if there's anything that you want me to just think about in the next one, shoot it to me in a comment, and I'll try and get it to you. Hope you've enjoyed it. Until next time.
Thinking with Higgo, thinking with Higgo, thinking about stuff